everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I'm Sean Woodland, joined as always by Lauren Khalil. Lauren, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Sean?
Doing fantastic. Thank you very much. Happy to be here and featuring Tommy Marquez. Tommy, what's up?
Not much. Just had my eyes opened and closed to a whole new world today.
Oh, do
what?
tell.
Closed because of allergies, but open because I was introduced to the world of self-propelled weed mowers today, and the brush hog 9000.
My God,
I feel like
that is
Obi-Wan
not where I
Kenobi.
thought you were taking this.
You have taken taken a step into a much larger world or something like that. Yeah, you've taken your first step into a much larger world. Welcome to dadhood.
I'm talking. I cleared 3/4 of an acre in like an hour, and I almost had what would have been if it had been filmed. I would have had a viral video of me having just one of the most epic fails possible. Because you remember that video it went around not too long ago. It's a guy with like a hand truck lowering like a pallet of like heavy stuff off the back of the truck, and he misses. He doesn't see the edge. It tips over the edge, and he's holding onto the hand truck, and it catapults him forward, and he hits the ground, arms at his side, and just slides face down, like clearly out cold, and having just wrecked the entire pallet of goods. And it's like, could you imagine a worse day at work? I almost had a moment like that with the brush hog, and me being the way our property run, like there's like a drop off, like a 5 to 6 foot drop off. And I'm like kind of in my own world, like I like just ripping through these weeds. And all of a sudden, I'm like, isn't the drop off here sometime soon? And as soon as I said that, the actual edge of where I was at, I was technically okay. It crumbled off. So like a piece of dirt broke off, and it tipped, and I held on to the handle, and it lifted me up off my feet. Jesus. And I almost got flung over the edge in front of a self-propelled weed mower. It was, but everything worked out. Everything worked out. Yep, I won.
You have all your fingers and toes?
I do.
Okay,
all
great.
10 fingers, 10 toes.
Congratulations.
And a brand new world of landscaping ahead of me.
Yeah, we're not losing digits until 4th of July. Like that's, come on.
No.
We're almost there.
Who's ever had fun with a firework? Hold your hook hand up high.
That's great.
That's for a later show. All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about today because it is, I guess in the CrossFit world, this is like NFL wildcard weekend or the first round of the NCAA tournament. Like it's jam-packed. And in fact, as we record, this competition has already begun. We're still going to talk about it and preview it a little bit. But we have four in-person semifinals going on this weekend. We got the Rebel Renegade Games, you got the Torian Pro, you got the Syndicate Crown, and the Far East Throwdown. We're going to talk about all four of them, get you set for this weekend. And then after that, like we are pretty much at the end because we have just one in-person qualifier remaining. That's the NorCal Classic. It's in our backyard, my hometown, Sacramento, California. And then they have the last chance qualifier, which that should be fun, how that all works out. But then after that, field is set. So, but we're going to get into all that. But before we do, we want to thank our sponsor for today. That is Kreatures of Habit. They will see you in health with their Meal One overnight oats. Now, here's what you get in these things, okay? First of all, it's a time saver. It takes about a minute to prepare. You put them in a container, add some water or whatever your mixture of choice would be. You get 30 grams of protein, no added sugars, nothing artificial, vitamin D3, added probiotics, and an added digestive enzyme. And if that's not enough, I'm sure you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, that's a lot of stuff, Sean, but does it taste good? Yes, it absolutely does taste good. And they have a variety of flavors that will prove that point. I'm a big maple caramel fan. That's a good one. They have
strawberry walnut's
good. The vanilla's good. The apple cinnamon, the blueberry, peanut butter banana. I mean, they got all kinds of good stuff there. So not only is it great ingredients, time saver, and it tastes amazing. And you can check them out at creaturesofhabit.com. If you're watching this, scan that QR code right down there. Takes you to the site. Use our code TEF, and you will save 20%. I eat these things daily. I'm a big meal prep guy the night before. I get all my stuff ready. I mean, it is like rip the package, throw it in there, water, mix it, screw the top on, freezer, done.
Perfect.
You actually put the bug in my head of having it for my afternoon snack. because I was having it for breakfast, and now on the days that I feel like eggs, I just keep that and throw it in my little Yeti cooler, and I have it for my pre-workout snack, which is delightful.
Mix in a little peanut butter. Why not?
Oh man.
Yeah, it's like your very own Chipotle where you can add your fixing in as you go. Like maybe a little granola on top, maybe a little fresh strawberry on top, maybe a little dollop of peanut butter on top, a drizzle of honey. Who knows? Ooh.
And the good thing is guac, not extra. Don't have to pay extra for guac on your Creatures of Habit.
Not in this household.
No.
John, every time I hear you say "see you in health," I picture you like taking a drag out of a cigarette and be like, I'll see you in health.
I'll see you in health. That was Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll see you in health. Creatures of Habit, that's creatures with a K, creaturesofhabit.com. Use the code TEF and you'll save 20%. All right, let's get into the weekend, because as I said, we have 4 competitions going on that will qualify either 1 or 2 people to men and women, I should say, to the CrossFit Games. And I want to start with the Torian Pro. The competition has been around for a while. They put on a great event down there. And we're just going to kind of go through our top storylines as we go through this. So 2 spots are available. And I think the biggest thing that people will be watching is Tia Toomey. Is this going to be the last time that we see her compete at a CrossFit event? Because there's a very realistic chance that she could qualify, because I think all she has to do, really, given who's already earned a spot, would be finish inside the top 4. And there's a good chance she goes. Now, she's always a threat to win this thing. I don't care how her training has changed. But do we think this is the last time?
I want to say yes, just because of how involved she's been with High Rocks and how much energy, based on her YouTube channel, her Instagram, that she's putting into training for High Rocks and competing in that sport. But at the same time, do I think she can, I don't want to belittle the other competitors at Torian Pro, but do I think she can easily qualify for the games and go if she wants? Absolutely. It's Tia. It doesn't matter if she hasn't been specifically training for CrossFit or doing less weightlifting than she normally does. She's still Tia Claire Toomey. It's not that much time off for her to lose a significant amount of fitness, for her not to qualify for the games and go if she chooses.
Well, they announced the prize purses for High Rocks recently, which a lot of people in the High Rocks space weren't exactly thrilled on. So I think that could potentially have a impact, right? If the sport that you've kind of focused on isn't putting out the prize money. Now, who knows if there's signed athlete deals, anything like that that's going on behind the scenes. But
that's a good point.
I think that could ultimately kind of play into the decision. I had this thought kind of rolling around in my head today when I was, taking out small shrubbery and brush at my property. What if, and you remember back in I believe it was 2017, California Regional, Sean, Julian Alcaraz qualifies for the CrossFit Games, but he had made a commitment to not go because he was about to have a kid.
I do remember that.
He foregoed his ticket, and it went to, I believe, one young Wesley Rethwell.
That's right, because wasn't there a shot of him hugging Julian during the announcement?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
They said they basically announced it during the reveal that like Julian was not going to take his ticket, and as a result, he would go. And Holden or Wesley, if you go by his legal name, basically got it, and that was kind of cool. So I thought, well, what happened if in Torian Pro, right? It comes down to it. Tia, I saw Maddie Sturt and Gracie Walton already have their spots, right? Like, what if it's like a young athlete or an athlete that's like, I believe like Gemma Hawk and Georgia Pryor have been around for a long time. That's always been on the bubble. Like, what if one of those athletes is in line to take a ticket and they're just one spot out? Like, does Tia basically have this beautiful swan song farewell? Like, I've accomplished everything I need to. And I think it's time for me to step aside and give the opportunity for all these new people to, make their names in the sport and passes the ticket along. That would be cool.
I think that would be cool.
That would be cool.
I mean, if not now in front of her home country, like, doesn't this kind of line up as the perfect time to do it? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, does she want her swan song to be in Albany, New York?
I don't know. Oh, that's another thing.
In a chicken quesadilla after. Yeah. Come on now.
I don't know. I think, what more does she have to prove? But I do think the money thing is an interesting point, Tommy, not one that I had thought of. It's still a pretty good payday if you go and win the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
Still a pretty good payday. So,
but and I guess it goes into the overall season equation, right? Could she offset that by going to Rogue, showing up to Rogue?
That's a good point. Yeah.
And Rogue's a bigger prize purse anyways. And it's a shorter weekend overall, and you're not going to get shortchanged from the athlete experience with Rogue.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I don't want to. I mean, if I say yes, she'll do the opposite. So I'm going to say no because I want her to keep. I want her to say no because I want to see her keep competing. So I'm going to say no. This isn't going to be it.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Wait, no. I want to say yes. This is going to be it because then she'll keep competing. That's what it is, right? Yes, this is going to be it. Then she will keep going. So that's what I'm going to do.
Sean. Sean. If she does say goodbye after Torian Pro, they should run a pre-produced package with your voice on it, getting to say for the last time, and getting to actually circle back and get to
the final.
Yeah. I'm serious. I really mean it this time. Yeah,
for real. No April Fools.
You or Jeremy Austin deserve to have your voice on that call.
Jeremy, I think, is going to do a fantastic. I'm pretty sure he's doing that event. So,
sure.
Because that's live streamed on Torian Pro's version of ESPN, from what I've seen.
Yeah, Australia. They have so
it's not on YouTube.
I got it right here. So they.
I thought it was.
No,
they do
it's
have
be on their website because it's
playing on their website.
Oh, okay.
It's playing on their website and KO Sports, KAYO Sports for Australians, and then you can just tune in on their
7 free day trial period. So if anybody wants to watch and then cancel before they're charged, you can do that.
This just in, I am now a Florida Panthers fan. Just making that announcement as the Edmonton Oilers have reached the finals.
I was
second straight year we've had that. Yeah, go Panthers, please. For the love of God,
go Panthers,
Florida,
dude. Isn't that crazy? The Oilers have just been on a war path ever since. It's like they
switched goalies and that was it.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Well, let's talk about the Torian Pro, because it is sort of the similar situation on both the men's and the women's side, to where, if you look at the men's side, Jay Crouch, Ricky Garrard, two people who I think it'd be a safe bet to pencil them in towards the top. Those two have already qualified.
Mm-hmm.
So with the men, or with the women, top four is looking pretty good, because both of those guys I think have won the competition twice, and one of them is trying to become the first 3-time winner of the Torian Pro. So if they're safe. Who else?
I believe Brendan Swan is also a 2-time winner too.
Is he really?
And he's in the field.
Love Swanee.
Yeah, Swanee's in there too.
He's awesome. Swanee's a good dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to just look at people who we would think might be vying for that spot. And I know, Tommy, you got a pretty good line on this, but who do you think is in contention?
I think Bailey Martin for sure. I think that's he finished outside of the qualifying spot in affiliate semifinals. He is the next guy in terms of experience, familiarity on the competition floor, someone who's been at the games, competed at the highest level, has thrown down with all of these athletes, and I think is also amongst the elite in the sport, considered a peer in that regard. So I do think there's some new guys. If you go back and look at who did well in affiliate semifinals, maybe who are some people that we've talked about for a while as having potential breaking through. Ben Fowler, but there's the Fowler brothers down there, those young guys that have been I think a lot of people have been waiting for them to kind of take the next step for a bit. And then a dude I wasn't super familiar with, before this season, Dante Karangoroa, but had an excellent showing in affiliate semifinals, is inside the top 40 worldwide for that. So he's also throwing down. So the 3 highest finishers out of that area in affiliate semifinals are competing this weekend. And I think with those 2 spots I would be surprised if Jay and Ricky aren't at the top, or at least in the top 3, so with one of those kind of sneaking in between. I think either maybe Ben, I think Ben might be a good guy to join Bailey as potentially doing well. Zane Healy too. Another guy who's been around for a little bit as well, but never quite at the highest stage. So,
okay. Well, what about the women's side now? Because we already have Grace Walton, Maddie Sturt. They're already in. And someone that I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on is Hannah Black. And I know, Lauren, you watched her compete at the Fizz Experience.
God.
And so for people who don't know, like, how close was she to
she was going to win that final event, but I think she just pushed that run way too hard and she ended up failing the cleans at the end of the ladder. But I'm pretty sure at that point, if she just stayed ahead of Sydney, she would have gotten her ticket to the games. So that was incredibly disappointing for Hannah. Really exciting for Sydney, but yeah, this is probably going to be Hannah's last opportunity unless, I can't imagine her. Well, the field's already set for NorCal, right? Yeah. So then the only other opportunity is the last chance qualifier, but this is her 3rd straight qualifier in a row. Like, just think about, how do you even have your training to peak for multiple competitions back to back to back, and changing time zones and all of those things that go into the equation of being at peak performance. So I am really curious to see how she is able to fare both mentally, emotionally, and physically this weekend.
This one's particularly gnarly too. I think that going multiple of weekends in a row, then at least you have the break, but still, like, going down to Australia, that time difference and that change it's tough.
Yeah, because she did the Mayhem Classic, took 13th, had some pretty good showings there. Then she was part of the World Fitness Project's first tour stop.
Yep.
Then she did the Fitness Experience, and now, as you mentioned, Torian Pro. So yeah, that's a really good point, Lauren. I don't know, how much gas is left in that tank, but the good news for her again is that it looks like if you're in the top 4, hell, maybe even the top 5, if Tia is one of those athletes and then she decides to pass that ticket on, you could be okay. It seems achievable for Hannah Black.
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
I was going to say, on top of that, you have Daisy McDonald, a few athletes that have some experience that I think will probably be in the mix as well. M. DeRoy, who qualified a couple of years ago, went team last year. Marnie Sykes, who's been on games, podium caliber teams for the last 3 or 4 years. Had a little bit of individual experience back during the Sanctionals era. I was on the road and she was going from Pandaland to Dubai and all of those events. And so she's another person that, does that time spent on the team competition set her up nicely here, or she could potentially be someone who's just generally happier on the team side. But and then I mentioned some of the longtime athletes like Gemma Hauk and Georgia Pryor, who just felt like they've always been 2 or 3 spots away from the games for the past 4 or 5 years. But
all right, well, that's again, where you can watch that is on the Torian Pro website. Okay, so it's kind of like the World Fitness Project. Got to go to their website to watch it.
TorianPro.com. They have a button for the live broadcast, or if you go to TorianPro.com/live broadcast, you'll be good to go.
Cool. Okay, well, let's move to the Rebel Renegade Games. Those are the ones going on in South Africa, and there's only one spot for both the men and the women. And I think really it's kind of the same storyline on both sides, at least to me, is that there's 2 athletes who are competing there, one woman, one man, who are trying to, this may be their sort of last chance to get back to the games. And on the women's side, that's Sarah Sigmundsdottir. And I was shocked. I look back, like, she hasn't been to the games since 2020.
Yeah.
She had that run of 6 straight years. And really it was those first 3 that were the most impressive, because it was like third, fourth. And she was
it 2020, the online, when she hurt her knee? Was during
I thought that was 2019 in person. Didn't she withdraw?
2019 she got cut.
Okay.
2018 when she withdrew because she cracked her rib.
Okay, that's it.
No, but she hurt her knee in one of the qualifier online videos, I thought.
I think you're right, because she came back at Wadapalooza and had that one squat clean event where she didn't really do that well.
Yeah.
Okay. But we haven't seen her at the games since 2020. And it wasn't even in person. She just got to the online portion.
Yeah. And well, that was through, because back then you could qualify through the Open.
Right.
She was still hitting the sanctionals circuit pretty solid. I believe she went to Ireland in the Filthy 150 that year. But that year she also had the what is it, like she basically cut her shin on a box jump.
Yep.
And then
that's right. I remember that
bacterial infection. And then she also had like a autoimmune issue that popped up as a result that was sparked by that. It was a pretty wild sequence of events. I remember having some in-depth conversations with their team about it, just kind of feeling like, like you couldn't catch a break. I've actually had those bacterial infections like you get from like a cut knee on a box jump. I don't know, Sean, you remember when I ate it on that skateboard back on early days of the podcast?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, when Marston gave me a half-dead one-wheel skateboard and it went out on me going like 25 miles an hour. I got that bacterial. I got the cellulitis in my shin as a result of the road rash, and that's no joke.
But since let's see, I'm looking at her competition history here. So she was 2015, was that her rookie year at the games? Yeah,
2015 was a rookie.
Yeah, 2015 was third. 2016 was third. 2017 was fourth. Like, that was when she went on that run. Then you go 2018, 37th. Then 2019, 19th. Then 2020, 21st. 2020, and then that was it. And since then, her best, like, she's only won one in-person competition since then. That was the 2023 UAE Storm Games where she finished first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she was also, she did come close. What was 2021, 22 at Lowlands, where she was missed by a spot.
Yeah.
But I believe that was I think it was 22 and 22. That was the year that Lucy Campbell made it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, it hasn't quite found her friend. I also think that she's had some shifts in life focus as well, but still, like, I think we were talking about it before. Like, this is kind of being served up on a platter for you here. Just the depth of the field isn't as competitive as as the other semifinals, and between like Christina Lividatakis and Evie Hollis, those are really the only two athletes with the consistent high level competition experience. So by far and away, if she's in decent shape, like, this should be a chance for her to get back.
Yeah. No,
but
we would love to see her back.
Agreed.
At the game. She's a great person and athlete, of course.
100%.
Someone good to have around, and I think the fans would love to see her back. And then on the other side of that is Lucas Hogberg, who is competing on the men's side. And
similar story.
He had his moment in 2018 with his little Swedish flag up on the podium. And since then, that's where he peaked. So that's another guy I'd love to see back. I've always enjoyed watching Lucas Hogberg compete.
Yeah. And he's also had some time away from the sport and shifting focus as well. But I think maybe the men's division down here in Africa is a little bit more competitive, top to bottom, to where you could have maybe someone clip him. Yeah, I believe is Nazar Al-Ruwaya, is he competing? I believe he's in this field, along with like Toby Buckley is a young guy that's kind of up and coming. You've been hearing some murmurs as a guy that could Tubby Buckland, sorry, apologies. Yeah, Nasser's also there as well. A couple of guys that maybe if Lucas isn't on his A game or just kind of testing the waters here, that like I don't think it's just a given that he's going to walk away as the winner here.
I would agree with that too. I think it's, you know, if you had to bet on one of the two of those, Sigmundsdóttir or Lucas, you'd probably, most people I think would lean towards, if you had to pick one, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
That competition's already underway, and Sigmundsdóttir is off to a good start. Right, she's won. Yeah, she's won an event.
Yep.
So
and if you want to, like follow along, you have to download the app. So
well, you can watch it live. It is on their YouTube channel.
Yes, it is.
Yes. You can watch that. So I'm sure they're throwing leaderboards up there. But yes, if you want to find a leaderboard online, you have to go through their app to do it. Like you're not going to find it on Competition Corner. It's not on the CrossFit Games site. So just keep that in mind. You probably just have to go to the stream on YouTube and scrub through it to find standings.
Yeah. So, Lucas hasn't competed since 2022.
Wow. Yeah, that whole 2018 year was so that was awesome. When he wound up on the podium, everyone had their giant flag, and someone, he didn't have a flag because it wasn't like, you know, came prepared. I don't think he really thought he's going to wind up there. And he had someone in the crowd had like a little dish towel sized Swedish flag, and so he was up there. That was great. All right. Before we get to the next two, we want to thank our other sponsor for today, and that is Thirdzy and their Rest and Recovery Collagen. This is something that, you know, we've talked about it a lot, and it is a absolute game changer when it comes to helping you sleep and recover better. It has GABA, L-theanine, magnesium in it. Those are ingredients that are designed to help calm your central nervous system, helps you get to sleep faster, stay asleep longer, and most importantly, wake up feeling more energized. It does not have melatonin in it, so it's not habit forming at all. It tastes great. I drink it. It's like the last thing that I drink at night, and I look forward to it. Like it is, I kind of crave it because that taste is
delicious.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
It's delicious. And if I don't remember the last time that I forgot, because it's so much in my routine now that I won't forget. It's in every travel bag I have, every purse that's coming on the road with me. It is a must.
And if you're like me, maybe you need a little sweet treat at the end of the night. Pairs nicely with a teaspoon of who we're kidding? Tablespoon of Nutella.
Oh yeah, the good stuff, Tommy.
Yeah, my go-to sometimes if it's just not water, it's blueberries, coconut water, and some Thirdzy. It's a little sweet, okay, but it's good.
Sean.
It's really good.
A little sweet treat for Sean. I like that.
Yeah,
coconut water with the Thirdzy.
It's good.
Oh my God. Yeah. I am going to the store tomorrow. That would make such a good combo.
Sean's a Thirdzy mixologist.
I am. I like to, I'm like Walter White. I'm like Walter White with my Thirdzy, man. I like mix that stuff. It's so good. And you can get 20% off right now. You can go to Thirdzy, THIRDZY.com. You do have to put the code in now. So it used to be thirdzy.com/TEF. Now it's just thirdzy.com. Put the code in. It's TEF and you will save 20%. Had someone message me that the /TEF wasn't working. I checked on it. So you got to put the code in. It will work. Made sure it's all good to go. Use the code TEF, thirdzy.com, and the code is TEF, and you will save 20%. You're going to sleep better. You're going to recover better. And listen, for the women who listen to the show, you often face more challenges at different times of the month due to hormonal fluctuations. So that can impact neurotransmitters involved in sleep. Thirdzy will help counteract overstimulation and supports deeper, more restful sleep. So the women out there can consistently sleep well and feel better recovered in the morning. So keep that in mind. It's just like, I love it. It's great product made by great people. Thirdzy.com. The code is TEF. Okay, let's get back into the semifinals. So Syndicate Crown, that's going on in North America, Knoxville, Tennessee. Good friend Wilson Pack putting that on. Wilson and his crew always put on a first-class event. They know what they are doing down there. There are 2 spots available, 2 for the men, 2 for the women. A couple things that I wrote down is, on the women's side, could the Wells sisters, could they get both spots? I mean, Brooke has got to be, I think Brooke is probably coming in with a little bit of a chip on her shoulder, given what happened in affiliate semifinals and how penalties cost her a spot. I think she's absolutely got to be in the conversation to take one of those two spots. Sydney, I don't know.
Yeah. I think Brooke probably better than Sydney. She seems just to generally outperform her most of the time. But, you look at like Lexi Neely. I think Lexi Neely could do really well here.
What about like
Shelby Neal? Yeah. Shelby Neal could, mess around at the top of the leaderboard as well. This one seems a little bit more interesting because you have some athletes that like Carolyn Stanley or even a young one like Lydia Fish who hasn't quite broken away at the top. But Lydia was at World Fitness Project a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure where Kyra's training is at right now. But yeah, this is I don't
like as you look at this field, no one's like, oh yeah, that's like there's.
I don't think any of them have a shoe in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if like Brooke doesn't walk away on top. Someone like Lexi or kind of unseats her, and this feels like, and maybe this is just kind of lingering from the last couple of years where we've had some exciting finishes either at the MAC or Syndicate, both run by the same team. Is this feels like a final event, both spots up for grabs type weekend?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Like if this were a few years ago, I might say like, yeah, this is like Brooke's the clear favorite. Mm-hmm. But I think with some of the youth and experience starting to build up behind some of the women in this field, particularly, it feels like this is a chance where we could maybe see some upsets and maybe see some people pop up and have themselves a Disney moment and steal some spots.
What about on the men's side? Because the two names that jumped out to me, and this is because I think familiarity sometimes, but you got Spencer Panchik in the field. Mm-hmm. Jack Rosema looking for his second trip to the games, who did well at this competition last year. Had that? Didn't he? He's the guy who had the great save on was it the clean or the snatch? He had the snatch ladder. He had that.
Oh, gosh.
I think it was him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. I also think this men's division, I think it's like what I said for the women's is right across the board. Like, like do you have those names that maybe stand out more? But like, I think Luke Parker could be in the mix. Ty Jenkins, who has been competing quite a bit in recent months. We saw him at World Fitness Project. He took some time away, kind of rededicated himself to the sport and looks in really good shape right now. I mean, even, former Mayhem team guy, Seth Stovall, guy making the switch over to the individual side. I mean, I think George Sterner's maybe a little bit of a wild card here.
Yeah, he was a guy that was really impressive at Mayhem.
Yeah.
Because he took a sizable amount of time off too.
He did. Remember, he qualified for the games out of that first year of sanctionals. Mm-hmm. Pretty easily because you could make it out of the open, and then it just kind of disappeared for I don't want to say disappeared, but people take time away from the sport, competing at a high level for various reasons. But it seems like he's kind of back, and there's a handful of these former teen athletes that it seems like they've circled their way back a little bit. Ty being one of them, George as well, but RJ Mestri is, I want to say, the youngest of the bunch as well. Another teen champion that's could be in the mix for a handful of events.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, it's going to be good. It's going to be good watching. There's going to be some, like, come Sunday, there's going to be some really fun, like, races at the end.
Yeah. I think you put it very well with that sort of final event. 4 people still in contention for one of the 2 spots or something like that, because I don't know when you look at the lists of names here, there's not someone where you're like, oh, that person's just going to come in and crush it. So give that person at least one spot. Now we're all fighting for second. Like, I don't think that's the case. So we'll see who comes out of this one. And then the final one is going on. It's the Far East Throwdown. And to me, like, the biggest, is the women's side. I think that's the biggest draw here, because Sung Young Choi, Sarah Kaya, they're always the two who seem to be going head to head, battling it out for one of that. I think it's just one spot.
One spot, yeah.
So, money's got to be on Kaya because of how dominant she has been in that competition, like, in that qualifying space. And it's really like, it's her it's Sung Young Choi, and then Daewon Jung, I think, is the other woman who kind of was making a little bit of noise last year. But it was clear, like it was Choi and Kaya, and it was everybody else.
Yeah, and Choi already has a ticket from Wildland Fest, so it's kind of like Sarah Kai just needs to beat Daewon Jung, which really is what it comes down to.
Probably likely to happen. And Sarah, like I was sort of going over this, like people forget like how good Sarah Kaya was at the Tier Cup.
Very good.
Oh yeah.
Like she seemed like sort of like a throw in, and it was like she made a huge difference.
Some people, like there was some like, I don't want to say shade thrown at her, but I think some people overlooked her as an athlete, and like she came out swinging on a couple of events, and including those like dual like race relay ones, the bar muscle up clean ladder. Like she came out and proved like held her own. I thought it was a bit of a coming out of her shell type moment, for someone that isn't the most outgoing athlete, and switched to Norway, moved to Norway, and was training out of CrossFit Oslo with that crew. Was a big commitment on her part, and after a couple of years at the games, you're like, is she really gonna break through out of that like 25th to 35th place where you see a lot of the athletes that qualify from some of the less competitive regions kind of just get stuck in for a few years before we see a new name pop in.
Yeah. Well, she was, last year finished first at this competition.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, and then she made her, I think, was it her individual? I don't think it was. No, it wasn't. But she was 21st at the CrossFit Games in 2024. So, not bad.
Yeah.
Pretty good considering. And then she's coming off a 22nd place in the affiliate semifinals, but has been dominant at the Far East Throwdown. I mean, I think last year they had, 5 events, and she won, 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, she won a lot.
Mm-hmm. She was fun to watch. Is there anybody on the men's side, Tommy, that jumps out to you, or you know anything about that? You'd be surprised if, hey, this person wound up on top of the overall standings.
I mean, there's Ant Haynes after the whole like where he took responsibility for the standard.
Ant Haynes is a good dude, man. I respect the hell out of that guy.
He's a good.
Yeah, good
dude.
Alexander Pliushkin, who's been kind of in that region competing at a high level for a little while. Outside of that, or Morteza Sedegat, has been around for a bit. He's probably towards the front of that one. Then I don't think there's a few people, Sven Geens, Tiago Luzis, some people who are from outside of that region that are coming in to compete, but not a ton of like quote unquote heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
So
but again, all these competitions you'll be able to watch. So just to sum up, Torian Pro's on their website, Rebel Renegade Games YouTube channel, Far East Throwdown's on the Sevon podcast, and then Far East Throwdown is on their YouTube channel.
YouTube.
Yeah, so you can watch all of them all weekend long. So there's going to be a ton of action. And then, like I said, we've got one left after that. That's NorCal, and then the last chance qualifier, and then we're on to Albany. And one thing I want to get to, because we didn't get to this at the beginning, because it was something that was talked about a lot, was that flash sale that was going on with the tickets. And we showed the seating chart last week. Morning Chalk Up did an article and I think it was Mike Halpin who did it, who I think does awesome work. And they took a look at like what kind of impact that flash sale had. I think they were offering 40% off of tickets for a limited amount of time. And that limited amount of time seemed to keep getting extended. But as of May 27th, according to Morning Chalk Up, that sale resulted in 523 tickets being sold. So they're, I don't, like I say this seriously, this is not a joke. Like there's still really good seats still available in Albany. And now they're giving away tickets to people who pay, because obviously people who paid full price early are going to say, hey, wait a minute, but that's kind of the game you play when you buy tickets for a live event. Like if you want to guarantee a spot, you're probably going to pay more right off the bat. If you wait and they have, the demand's not as high, that might actually pay off, but you're also taking the risk that you don't get a seat. Are they giving away free tickets now to affiliate owners who?
Affiliate owners are giving extra tickets away to affiliate owners, and I believe I want to say Dave on his weekend review told people who paid full price to reach out to him, so he might be tossing them an extra ticket. Mm-hmm. Might be like an Oprah show where you look under your chair and everybody gets a free ticket. So,
well, I think at this point they just want, because if you look at the seating chart, like if you go to Ticketmaster and you go to available tickets, blue is what's available. There are large swaths of sections that have not been sold.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is the first time that I can remember that this has happened.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So yeah, I just wanted to give people an update on that, like, cause it's concerning. It is concerning that, and this goes back to something that I talked about, I think at the beginning of the season, is what is the appetite for live competition? And I think it's probably more North American and probably United States centric than anywhere, because you still go, you go to Europe and those things are very well attended. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Torian Pro looks like. I'm betting on the weekends. It always picks up on the weekend. They seem to have good attendance down there. But here in the US, it just doesn't seem that the live competition tickets are selling. And this goes back to, a couple years ago. At this point, it was mostly contained in the semifinals, but then when you got to the games, that was the ticket everybody wanted. So I don't know, it is concerning.
Yeah, it is. I will say, and this is kind of a transition to something nice. Did you guys see the Road to the Games episode 1?
I know, but that's good that they've done that. And they've gotten some pretty decent numbers on it. So good on them for bringing that back. That's. Yeah, give credit where credit is due. They are that's the kind of content that people want to see, and they've started putting that out. So good on them.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, let's be honest. This is the type of content CrossFit should have never stopped making.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I will say, and it warmed my heart to hear Ian Wittenberg's voice from behind the camera.
Oh, that's
asking
great.
Some questions and joking. Yeah, because I know Ian's helping out on it, but I think he was laughing when Colton let out the 6 dachshunds that they have.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he mentions he was expecting German shepherds or something. And it was these 6 wiener dogs come running out of a hut. So it's quite good. It's a really good episode on both Colton and Austin. And the next one's on Fee and Abby Domit.
Oh, that's great. Good on CrossFit for doing that.
Yeah.
And, better late than never. I'm glad they're doing that stuff. But do you remember those shoes that Ian used to wear in the gym? They looked like he was at the Ren Fest. It's selling his wares at the Ren Fest, and he just left those shoes on and came in and worked out. They were like these leather, I don't know, lace up things that looked like they were out of the 1800s. They had no sole on them.
It was literally like a piece of leather on the bottom, a piece of leather sewn around the top with some laces. We used to call them the JC ones,
the Air
Jesus Christ ones, or the Air Jerusalems.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
that's what they were. Yeah,
dude, but Ian was super fit and he always worked out in those and crushed it. Or he'd work out barefoot.
I remember watching him do Grace one day. He did singles, but he did fast singles, and he really messed that.
He's a fit dude. He's a fit dude. Good, good human too.
Good job, Ian Wittenberg. Welcome back to the crowd. But yeah, thank you for bringing that up, because I think that's a big positive. So, okay, do we have any community support?
Ooh, I did see one that I wanted to bring some attention to. I got this one secondhand. So this was from it was a fundraiser for Dusty Cowden, a devoted husband, father, dude nurse, avid lifter, all around badass. On Friday, 5/23, he had to undergo emergency surgery to repair a hole in his esophagus that tried to kill him with an infection in his chest. Okay. This landed him in the ICU on a ventilator, and eventually getting a feeding tube to allow it to fully heal. He's recovering, but will take some time and effort, which is always a strain. He's given so much to so many people. Let's help together to make sure he can focus on just healing and getting back to raising hell. I saw it on Known and Noble for Mike Halpin's stuff. I gotta find it though. Shoot,
efforting.
I had it.
Lauren, are you going anywhere this weekend?
I'm staying home this weekend.
Wow. That's a rarity.
I know. I'm going to stay home and watch all the live streams.
Nice.
From the comfort of my home.
There you go.
Are you going anywhere, Sean?
I don't think so. I think I'm staying put this weekend.
What's Miles up to? I'm sorry. What's Max up to? Miles can't walk yet.
Yeah, Max is. What are we doing? I mean,
He can crawl, though.
with friends. He's got a week off from flag football. They got to bye. Playoffs start next week.
Oh,
So-
are you coaching?
I am assistant coaching. Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's fun.
How-
Kids are.
So I'll have to look that up, but I'll keep on the lookout on our Instagram because once I find it, I'll repost it to our
Cool.
Instagram.
All right. Well, thanks for bringing that up. And again, say this every week. If you guys have something you want us to get the word out on, please send it to us via our TEF Instagram account or any of our personal Instagram accounts. Please include as many details as you possibly can because we want to make sure that we're sending people to the right spot. All right. Let's close this thing out with PRs and no rep. I got a no rep. I can start.
Go for it.
I got a no rep. I got a no rep CrossFit community, man. We got to have a talk about our air squats. We did. Okay, so I did Murph with the crew.
We got to have a talk about
We just got to have
our
a
air
talk here. I feel like
squats.
there's huge crew doing the workout, right? I saw so many just like, nope, not even close. And I get there are some people that, maybe they're a little older, they just started, that they're fine. But there are people who know better, who should know better, that weren't even close. Wasn't even close. I was like, do we need to start bringing out the med balls again and like squat into the med balls? Because like this shouldn't, I don't know, man. Like it was a little disheartening to see how many people weren't even getting, and again, I'm willing to give a pass to some. If you're older, you haven't really, maybe it's your first time doing Murph and you're not really comfortable with the air squat. That's fine.
Did the coaches say anything?
There were so many people that,
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, you couldn't even.
yeah, it was like, so yeah, man, I was really, and there's been jokes about it going on online about all the Murph no reps, but it was kind of shocking to me to see. And again, from people I thought, man, I did not expect that. So let's just every now and then, let's roll the med ball out there. Let's squat to the med ball. Let's know what that depth feels like. Let's get that back. Cause I think maybe that's lapsed a little bit. So.
I would say for a workout like Murph too, like it's even more imperative that you do something like that just to make sure you don't shortchange yourself on a workout that like carries that level of importance in our community,
Agreed. And I saw like pull-ups where like that was lockout and it was, and I was like, come on guys, come on. Like I don't care. Like at that point, like you're just doing that because it's the only, you can do it regularly and you're going to have a worse time. Just do it regularly. Like as Tommy said, it's important, and I was really surprised at how many, and again, there were some older athletes and there's some masters athletes who they just don't have the mobility, and the form was good to a point, but they just couldn't get, and fine, whatever. Great. Good on you. But just a group of people who I was like, man, I'm going to roll a med ball out there. I'm going to make you squat to it because you're not
you
close.
know which ones can and can't.
Yeah. So anyway, let's maybe just go back to basics every now and then. Roll the med ball out. Go over the air squat. It's very important. Shouldn't stop coaching it. So it's my public service announcement. That's my let's just do better. Let's just do better next time.
Do better.
Yeah, I like it. I got one too. I am no repping ESPN. So after 23 years, one of my favorite shows of all time, Around the Horn, came on air for the final time this past Friday.
It did?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was shocked to see that, man.
Yeah. And the ratings were doing well. I'm not really sure. They wanted to go a different direction. 23 years. It was part of what I consider some of the best stretches of sports television broadcasting, like programming. That like sweet spot on days after school or practice when you had Pardon the Interruption, Around the Horn, and even the early days of the Dan Le Batard show with Poppy, with his dad, when his dad was on the show.
Yeah.
Like those stretches in and out of like sports centers were just chef's kiss. And the amount of work that went into that show to get all of these like national sports writers and beat writers to come on and share opinions and discuss stuff like that from all these different areas around the world, to where they would have like their newsroom, like glass behind them and all this stuff, whether it was Tim Cowlishaw, Woody Page, Kevin Blackstone, Jay Adonde, Israel Gutierrez, Pablo Torre, Jackie McMullen. I mean, you go down the line, even the early days with Jay Mariotti, like that was just so good. And I would say that the sports debate platform kind of devolved a little bit from there, just people shouting.
Agreed.
But like that was so good when you had those two, and it was coming off of Tony Kornheiser, Michael Wilbon, pardon the interruption, where Tony Reale got his start as Stat Boy.
Yeah.
And if you haven't already, go on YouTube and look up Tony Reale's final send off for Around the Horn. He signs off as Stat Boy.
Oh, that's
He's basically
great.
He's like, we're going out at the way we came in as Stat Boy. And he's like, we did 4,987 shows. That's more than Oprah. That's more than David Letterman. That's more than Sesame Street. And he's like, and you don't get there by chance. And I just want to say thank you. And he had the mute button that he left at the end.
That's fantastic.
And it was awesome.
That is
I
great.
can't believe that, man. I can't believe that show's been 23 years. Like, cause it's, there's just some things where it's just a fixture. Like it's always existed, like it was never going to go away. Lauren, you got to know rep.
Tornado warnings that happened in the middle of Texas while you're driving.
There you go.
And then all of a sudden you have just enough time to pull into the shittiest bar that I have ever been to in my life. And I've been to some pretty shitty bars with me, my friend Amanda, who is on crutches, and 2 dogs. Had to go wait out the storm for an hour and a half. The kitchen started flooding while we were there. The parking lot started flooding while we were there. And it was one heck of an adventure.
Did they have both kinds of music, country and Western?
There was no music. Right. Just the news was on.
Okay. All right.
Sad.
All right. Well, PRs. Anything is ending on a positive here?
Yes.
Okay, go.
Okay. Sean, I'm looking at you right now.
Oh, God.
I'm looking at you about sparkles. If I could convince my tactical games partner that I competed with this past weekend, because my original partner, Amanda, got injured halfway through the event. He is a sniper, a sniper in the special forces, really good at like long range stuff. And I convinced him to wear sparkles in his beard. I feel like I should be able to at some point convince you to wear sparkles for something.
I will only do something like that for one person, and that's my son. So if he asks me to do something like that, that's happening. All right, I'll do it.
I'm going to go whisper to Max and hand him the sparkles
on. I'm putting the damn sparkles on, and I'm making an ass out of myself. Right, that's going to happen. But anybody else?
It's going to be like a Bobby and Hank Hill moment.
Damn it, Bobby.
Oh man!
All right, sparkles.
That's great.
Wearing sparkles. Good, Tommy.
Sparkles continue.
I got 2. One, I'm gonna PR remembering where you came from, because the All American Rejects are doing a nationwide tour right now.
That's awesome.
Where they're playing like backyards and frat houses and like
good for them.
And they're just doing. They have 12 guys in a tour bus, and they're doing it old school.
That's great.
And it's like prep for their new album, and love it.
That's cool. All right, what's your second one?
That's awesome. I'm gonna PR the Thunderbolts.
Oh,
okay.
I saw the latest. I should have PR'd The Power of Friendship, and anyone who's seen the movie will understand why. But the latest Marvel film, Thunderbolts, did not have high hopes for it. Had pretty low expectations and was very pleasantly surprised. It was very good.
Fantastic.
And they depicted a comic a character from the comics that I always found very interesting, in a very unique way that I thought was very good. So.
All right, win for Marvel. Good stuff.
PR to Avril Lavigne and Simple Plan. Great concert last night.
Okay, great, fantastic. She's the skater boy one, right? And Simple Plan is the
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
Hey, Dad, look at me.
Nice, Tommy.
All along.
I'm sure there was a hell of a pit going on in that show.
Simple Plan might have got a good one, actually.
Maybe.
Simple Plan's great.
Yeah.
I forgot how much I liked them.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I've helicopter fisted some. I should re-say that. Helicopter punched some guy.
On that note,
in the pit.
Oh dear!
At a single play.
Oh man!
Let's no rip that one right there.
The craziest thing I ever saw in a pit was 93? It was at the Clash of the Titans tour. There was this Slayer was one of the bands, and there was this big guy that looked like he was out of 300 in the middle of the pit, just like in a fighter stance, just dotting people. And I was like, oh my God. Like wanted to kill people. And there's just like huge pit going, this guy's just like, bam, just throwing haymakers. So yeah, that was, I'm not sure you saw that at Simple Plan at Avril Lavigne, but I'm sure it was still pretty.
No, probably not. No.
I got to PR my son, Max. They had awards at his school, end of the year awards, and really it was like everybody kind of got one. But there was one that people earned, and it was like they have a thing where they have a 200-meter track out at like a dirt track, and the kids get to run laps, and they keep track of them during the year, right? And so they had the school lap leaders, and there were 5 of them, and he was in that crew, and he's in the youngest division.
Max is a runner.
I clearly not my side of the genetic code there, but yeah, he was one of the lap leaders and got an award for it. So
hell yeah,
that's awesome.
Earned that one.
Lap
Good on
leader.
you, kid. Yeah. It's like, where did? Oh, your mom. That's right. She's a good runner.
Yeah, exactly. She's a runner.
That's it. So
nice.
All right. On that note, enjoy the weekend of competition, everybody. There's going to be a ton to watch. We'll have a lot more people going to the games when it's all said and done. Good luck to all the athletes who are competing. Good luck to everybody who's doing all the broadcasts. Looking forward to watching that. And man, we're almost to the end of this qualifying thing, and then we're going to be talking about what's going on in Albany, New York, and the 2025 CrossFit Games. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks to our sponsors, Kreatures of Habit, creaturesofhabit.com, creatures with a K. Use that code TEF. You save 20%. And Thirdsy.com, same code TEF, 20% savings there as well. And you're set with all your nutritional needs. For Lauren Khalil and Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. Take care of each other. Be better. We will talk to you guys next time.
Like a kiss at the start of a first date. If it's good, it's good. I don't want to wait. When the feeling's right, I'm taking every